Okay, so today we're going to be pruning a compact Nandina. And I happen to be familiar with this plant. It's not in my home lawn or garden, but in the lawn of a longtime friend of mine who passed away earlier this year at the age of 90. The house has since sold. A young couple purchased it, and they've agreed to let me come in and prune some of their shrubs, which really haven't gotten much attention over the last 3 years. They've now lived in the house only 3 months, and like many new homeowners, aren't really sure what to do. So what I like about this Nandina is that I don't think it was ever sheared, which is the worst thing you can do to a caning shrub. If you watch the basic rules, we talked about never shear a caning shrub because it will just put out all sorts of new growth. So let me come up and show you some of the things that we're going to do in this plant, and it's going to be a real quick cleanup. We come around here and first of all, here's a dead cane that we're going to take off. But this is the more common thing. We're not really going to prune this for shape. We're going to prune it, or we're going to prune it not for size, but for shape. So my mistake there. And this is definitely one that we're going to be down on our knees, so I have my handy dandy kneeling pad. But we have a couple of these long canes that definitely need to come off. Here's another piece of dead wood. And when we're done, we'll be back to a nice mounded shape. And that's why I say in many caning shrubs, we're pruning for shape, not so much for size. So the only tool I have with me today are my pruning shears, nice and sharpened. And we just come in, and on this one that's sticking way out, we're going to take it off as far back as possible. So we'll set that aside. Here's a dead one. We'll come down there and take that off as far back as possible. Another dead one. A small, well, that one just broke off. We'll take this one off. That one just came out. We'll take this little moonshot. I'll move around to the back. And since this hasn't been touched in about 3 years, which is the time that my friend spent in a nursing home, I'm not going to take off everything. I'm just going to take off the worst things. And then next year we'll do another little touch-up. But here's another moonshot. Take that off way back. A dead one, which just came out. This moonshot down here, many of the moonshots come out of the bottom. So they come out, they're hanging low, they're going to be a pain when you try to mow, so we'll take that off. So there's that one. Clearly this one has to go. This one should go. And this dead one should go. And now we have a plant that is better shaped. We might, many folks would be tempted to just cut this one off right here. You have got to resist that temptation. If you're going to take this off because you don't like how it has shaped it, then follow it all the way down into the bottom. And of course, taking some of those off will now encourage the plant to put out some new shoots, and it will fill in nicely. But I think that's good for this year, considering that this plant has not been pruned in about 3 years. That's also the nice thing about the compact varieties, is that they don't get real big and bushy. So that's it for today. We'll clean up my debris. Real quick cleanup. Sanitize my pruners, run a sharpener over them once or twice, and we're done. That's it for this year on this particular plant. Okay, so now I'm home, and I have a pair of these compact Nandina by my mailbox, and I have pruned these every year. And therefore I don't have a whole lot of touch-up to do this year, but I have a little bit. And so I'm just going to come in here and I'm looking for, oh yeah, let me follow that one all the way down. And again, this is a cane plant, so with canes, never take a shear to them because it will generate all sorts of moonshots. The other is follow on a cane plant when you're taking something out, take it all the way down to the bottom. And when you're in here, you will notice that there's 1,000 itty bitty little canes, and one of those will grow up to fill in. But I like to take off the ones that are kind of sticking out and messing up the shape. We're pruning not so much for size. In fact, on these, rarely for size, almost always for shape. So this one just doesn't look quite as healthy and wanted to break off at the bottom, so we'll take that out. These, I'm probably going to leave these till this one till next year. This one, I think I'll take this year. I would rather under prune this, since I do it every year, than to over prune it. But the good news is, if you do happen to over prune it, guess what? Next year, it'll send out more. So let me, and often as you go, you'll change your mind. But you'll notice how these are all really, really woody and just have some stuff on the end. And that's because no sunlight is getting down into the middle of those. And they're stretching up trying to get some sunlight. So, yep, I said I wasn't going to do these, and now I've changed my mind. You can do that. Just follow it all the way down in there. And tease them apart and get an idea of what it'll look like if you take it out. So that actually gets a slightly better shape if I take this one out. And so now I think I'll stop, and I've got a fairly round, doesn't stick out over the curb, isn't going to interfere with the mailman or the FedEx delivery guy. So that's it for this one. Again, this is the compact Nandina. It does not get any berries, it doesn't get very tall, but it is a cane plant, so rule number one, never use shears on it. You use shears, you will just be creating more work for yourself. And we don't want to do that.